Welcome to Ultimate Survival Gear. Today, as you guys can see, or you can't see, can you see? I got something from Adidas yet again, and these are another very requested boot that I had, for the past, I don't know how long I had this boot requested to be reviewed, and finally I have it. This is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely freaking love this boot. This is Adidas Outdoors Terrex Swift R2. Yes, GTX waterproofing, some Continental tires for an outsole. Absolutely fantastic boot. I love the comfort, I love the lightness, I love the features, I love everything about this boot. So let's get into the review. As some of you already know, this is not just a regular boot review. This review is specifically for my Ultimate Survival Boots section. Yes, so basically if this wasn't just your hiking boot, but something bad happened, and you had this boot in the house, or maybe you were lucky enough to wear it already, and now, well, maybe you had to leave your house and travel for miles until you get to the safety. Maybe you had to fight on the way, you had to climb something, you had to sleep in this boot, do whatever that's necessary, right, for your survival. Would this be a good boot to survive in, or would it get you killed? How do we make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin. Criteria number 1, comfort level. And in order to test the comfort level of all the boots and shoes that I review on this channel, I do a 3-mile run, non-stop through different terrains. We'll talk about the terrains later. And then 5 miles walk, non-stop, no pauses in between. And then I continue wearing this for the rest of the day so that the total wear time is 8 or about close to, sometimes a little more, hours. All right, so like I said, I love the comfort level of this boot. Let's start with the first factor that contributes to the comfort: the weight. My scale over here, this is size 10, and size 10 is 16.3. Excellent weight for a mid-size boot, packed with all the features, waterproof. Excellent weight. And to give you kind of a reference numbers, I usually tell people, the viewers of the channel, 20 ounce. Look for that 20 ounce mark. That's kind of like golden middle, right? The more under 20 ounce your boot will be, the better. The more over 20 ounce, the heavier, the more fatigued you're getting now. You're gonna get fatigued regardless. From walking, running, that's effort. Your muscles, you're putting in the effort, right? But not from the weight on your feet. That's something completely different. So this is well under 20 ounce. So really good. But there's some more stuff that contributes to the comfort level. Another one would be the flexibility of the outsole. And here, as you can see, besides this being massive and stiff, it does have a very proper crease and decent enough flexibility to actually run in this boot if you have to. Now this is more of would be going towards the mountaineering, and you can tell by the outsole, which we will talk about later. But in spite of that stiffness that a lot of people prefer in their hiking boots, you still can utilize this boot as pretty much most anything you want. Alright, so very good versatility. I liked it. Let's move on to the inner sole, and I'll try to take it out of the boot and show you what it looks like. Check this out. Now, nothing crazy over here. Very distinguished heel bed over here. Decent arch support. Not a lot of cushioning. For the most part, this is on the firmer side. Once you remove it, it goes straight into the midsole. Hard midsole. So keep that in mind. If you prefer firmer feel in your inner sole, this is it right here, okay? Now, speaking of all the padding, all the cushioning that you have, we have padding on the tongue, feels very nice. Some padding in the shaft, not a lot, but decent amount. And then going inside of the boot, you really don't have much. This fabric, it feels pretty soft from the inside, but when you go here to the front of the toe box, keep in mind that you have that protective cap, which is excellent. No complaints there, but from the inside it's hard, so it's very important to get these in the right size, and we will talk about the sizing later. So overall, I am a huge fan of the comfort of these boots. They're more on the firmer side, stiffer side. I like the balance between the two, and I think this is a little bit more from the center towards the stiffer side. So if you are preferring that stiffer, firmer feel, you will appreciate these quite a lot. All right, let's move on to the criteria number 2 now, proofing and protection. Like I said in the beginning, this is fancy GORE-TEX waterproofing, and my camera does not want to focus because it's very annoying camera, to be honest. But this is a GTX waterproof boot, GORE-TEX waterproofing technology. Basically, it's an expensive waterproofing technology. It's a special membrane that goes inside of the fabric. It's lightweight, it's breathable, all right, and it provides good waterproofing. Now, speaking of waterproofing, I wanted to point out a few things. As you can see, the gusseting on the tongue. Let's see exactly how much of the clearance you have from the ground. It's 5 inches. You have 5 inches from the gusseting on the tongue, and you have about just a little bit more than 5 inches, pretty much 5 inches from the lowest point of the shaft. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that Adidas, they implemented the full length of the shaft in order to, make the waterproofing. So pretty good, pretty smart. Moving on to the protection now. Like I said, there's a very nice protective cap at the front. Excellent for a rocky road. Small rocks not gonna bother you at all. Keep in mind though, here, even though there's a little bit of a reinforcement still, this is soft, so don't drop anything heavy on your foot. You have your protection in the ankles with all the padding. Considering this is a mid-sized boot, of course your heel is reinforced, and you have plenty of protection from the bottom, from the outsole, with the Continental tires as your outsole, which we will talk about later in the outsole. So let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, quality wise, check out the link. The Amazon link is in the description below. Over 400 reviews, almost 5 stars, so people do like this boot a lot. And I mean, judging by how many requests to review this boot I had, I mean, this seemed to be very popular. I honestly don't know why I couldn't get them earlier, but I tried and I couldn't. Finally, here they are. But then again, speaking of Adidas in general, it's a popular brand. I want to say that they were good, but yesterday they posted a really weird picture of just a collection of breasts on their Twitter account, and that was kind of weird. So I don't know. These days, everybody's going crazy, so I'm not even going to say nothing about that. It's up to you to decide. But their products, quality-wise, I like them, okay? I'm not going to say nothing about the brand. Now, moving on to the design features, okay? So design features, usually here I talk about the lacing system, and here it's a nice, round, thinner strings, but they're still good. You have your 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs of fabric hooks, and then there is one for reinforcement, one nice steel hook out here, and then there's one pair of open hooks, which is great for hiking. You can release the tension really quickly. But there's another thing that I wanted to point out, which I think should be must have in every hiking boot. It's this lace lock over here, lace bungee, that's what they call it. Check this out. So once you tie your strings, you just sneak them in under this, and that's it. They sit out of your way. So whenever you're hiking, there is no tripping hazard. I love this idea. I mean, literally it should be like a freaking CDC guidelines, all right? Or FDA approval for every boot to have a freaking lace lock. I love it. It's just great. So if any other manufacturers are watching this video right now, please implement this. This is awesome. Okay, let's move on to the criteria number 4. Outsole. Traction stability. So whenever I do my run and my walk, I do it on a variety of different surfaces. I start with older asphalt and the newer tarmac, dry sand, wet sand, dry grass, wet grass, rocky road, trail surface, concrete, marble, tile, rubber, rock wall. Holy cow, it's too much freaking stuff. And this handles pretty good on pretty much everything. It's a little bit slippery on the wet grass because, as you can see, these are pretty aggressive, but they are kind of rounded, okay? And I wish that there was a little bit more sharpness to the aggression on these grooves, like for example in these ones here. These do help to get a good stable grip, but because this outsole is designed more for mountaineering, that's why it's more of this kind of shape. But pretty much everything else, it handles very well. I'm not really going to talk about snow and ice here because this is not an ice boot, this is not a snow boot, but it would handle pretty good on the snow, for example. And speaking of ice and snow stuff, let's move on to the criteria number 5, which is Temperature, like I said, this is not really a winter boot. This is not insulated in any way. Yes, you can probably get away with some mild cold temperatures, some mild winters, if you implement some insulated socks. After all, this boot is GTX waterproof, so you can definitely use it in the snow as long as your feet are nice and warm. But in the hot temperatures, in the warm weather, it's fantastic. It's breathable enough, it's light enough, it gives you light feeling on your feet, so pretty good. I would say it can be a 4-season boot as long as you're using some insulated socks with, for your winters, and it's not too extreme of a temperature or anything like that. Let's move on to the criteria number 6, sizing. Now, one important thing that I wanted to mention here is this boot runs a little bit on the smaller side. Usually, whenever I get size 10 for myself, I have a little bit of extra space for my boots. So my normal shoe size is 9.5, and then I get a 10, and I have a little bit of extra space. In size 10, it's pretty much fit perfectly. So for me, this would be 10.5. That would be my choice. So keep that in mind. You want to have a little bit of extra space, especially in this boot. It's very important because this front of the toe cap from the inside, it does feel hard because it's a hard rubber. All right, it's for protection, it's good, but you want to make sure it's in the right size so that you don't get fatigued from your toe smashing into the front of the toe box on the inside. Okay, let's move on to the criteria number 7. Probably the most important here is the balance of application. So if this really was your ultimate survival boot, would it be good? Would it help you to survive? I think this is fantastic. You guys know my personal criteria, right? It's my personal criteria. For everyone, is going to be different. Depends on what do you think, how you're gonna survive, what is your plan, what is your strategy. Is up to you. But for me, it's a mid-size. It's a waterproof, preferably GORE-TEX, because that's so far the best waterproofing technology that I reviewed, and as versatile as possible of the outsole, lightweight. The more cool features, like this lace thing I have is great, like open hooks at the top so I can release the tension really quickly is great. The lighter, the better. Something that I can run in if I have to, something that I can cross the river if I have to, something that I can climb in if I have to. And this right here is a pretty good option. I have to say, this probably goes in my top 10 choices. Really, it is really, really good. You can tell it's nicely built, it's quality. The outsole is pretty good, although it is more of a mountaineering outsole. So if you live somewhere closer, I would say, Colorado, Utah, right? So your escape route is gonna go through a lot of rocks, a lot of rocky roads, right? Rocky trails. This right here is perfect, fantastic. This would be my personal choice. Something mountaineering, right? I mean, there's a lot of options out there. Keep that in mind. This is not the only one. There are some great boots from Mammoth. There are some great mountaineering boots from Jack Wolfskin. Great mountaineering boots from Salomon. So there's a lot of options out there, and that kind of brings me to the last criterion here. Criterion number 8: the price. Okay. Price is a little bit on the pricey side, okay? Almost $200. The link is in the description below. $200, yes, it's pretty expensive. I mean, it's a great boot, but in that price range, there is some serious, very serious competition, okay? So, again, it's up to you. I've done a lot of reviews on this channel, well over hundreds of reviews already on this channel. So, check them out. Like I said, La Sportiva, you have Mammoth, you have Jack Wolfskin, Salomon. These are Keen. These are some of the boots that I could trust. If I had that option, I would, if that was the only option, I would be like, okay, great, that's an awesome option. So for $200, there's a lot of stuff in that price range. There's a lot of stuff under that price that is very, very good. Like, for example, my personal choice right now, Salomon X Ultra 3 Mid GTX, they're about $120, $130. Okay, so that's $70 off the price of these. And yes, they would be my choice over these. They are also GTX. They're less mountaineering. They're more versatile. They're softer feel, a little bit more cushiony. So It's up to you guys to decide. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this boot? What do you think about this review in general? If you found this useful, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button, and if you want to support me even more, you can consider joining the membership on this channel. It's only 99 cents a month, but that money definitely helps me to bring more quality content, because that's where I get the money to have all of these products, and the money that I get from YouTube for the ads and all that sort of stuff. That's the money that I use to bring in these products. So the more money I make, the more stuff I will use everything in order to make this channel grow and bring you more content, more videos. Hopefully I will be traveling some more soon, so I can do some more hiking reviews for you as well. Thank you very much guys for watching. This was Ultimate Survival Gear. I'll see you guys in the next video.